Yes, it went through a flood. The book went through a flood.
Back in 1992.
Actually, 1992 was the year I was born, and I don't know if I've had it that long, but it went through plenty of shit. There's actually mold in it, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, you got a pet in there.
Yeah, I mean it's all right, but we'll get into that. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode, yet another episode of Art of the Jam. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Space Camp, how are you today?
I'm fine.
You doing well?
Yeah,
Good.
I'm really fucking tired, so I might be a little slap happy.
I am extremely...
I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, so...
I went to sleep at 5 a.m. So.
Oh, and then my manager was fucking, like, an hour late almost. But she never does that, so I was just...
Shame on you, manager.
I gave her shit today. I was like, the regulars were on time. I went up to her. I was like, man, how come the regulars are on time and you can't?
Because the regular, they're not.
I was like, they're giving us money.
Yeah, they're paying to be here. You're getting paid to be here. But, anyways, in the tradition, I am feeling very tired as well today, but for many different reasons. I feel exhausted emotionally today. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know exactly what that means. So that face you just fucking made. I'll accept it because I don't quite know what it means either. But
it's new for you.
It is. Well, no, it's not new for you. I'm just trying. I'm trying to be more transparent with my feelings.
No. I was like,
I feel close to you, Space Camp.
Oh, okay. No, I was like, wow. Okay, cool.
I feel like I can.
I wasn't judging you or dogging you. It just threw me off a little bit. I was like, fuck yeah. So I was like, hell yeah.
You know, I feel like there was that. I feel like there that one guy at that show. He mentioned to me that how lucky we were to have each other, and I know that sounds a little homo, but I feel every show we play, I feel like I get a little bit closer to you, and in a platonic. Bro way.
And not gay way.
I mean, a little bit, but...
yeah.
But... so, I'm just... dude, why do you have to... I'm just going off on the spiel. I'm just trying to tell you, I'm fucking tired, too. Right?
I know.
Why'd you have to go and make it fucking weird, dude?
Yeah, you're the one that acknowledged it was weird. I was being completely fine.
Invalid. Let me get to the question, dude. This intro is going to be so long. Nobody's even going to be fucking... Anyways, in the tradition of Art of the Jam, I have a question for you, once again, audience. So, today's question is a two-parter, actually. And in lieu of the whole... in lieu of our conclusion of Death and Dissonance today, our topic, the question is, like I said, a two-parter, but... If you could resurrect any dead musician and ask them one question, who and what would it be? I will repeat. If you could resurrect any dead musician and ask them one single question, one burning question about anything, and they have to tell you the whole truth, who and what would it be? So, why don't you mull that over, audience? And after that, we will get to Death and Dissonance Part 3, Posthumous Fame, Belated Admiration, and Afterlife Accolades. Artists who missed the mainstream, beamed up before their time to the great gig in the sky. Stick around. That being said, cue that intro. That was supposed to be what I did into the intro, but backwards. You know how, like, that Missy Elliott song? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nope. I don't.
You don't... Are you familiar with Missy Elliott at all?
I'd have to hear it. I can't really...
Put that thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That part, that's what she just said in reverse. Yeah, that's why it doesn't make any sense. It's like... Yeah. Put that thing down, flip it, and reverse it, ladies and gentlemen.
Just push it.
So...
Push it.
Well, yeah, you can do that too. You can push it. You can put that thing down. You can flip it, reverse it, push it good. There's a lot of different verbs that you can perform. So, Space Camp, if you could resurrect any dead musician and ask them any question, who and what would it be then?
It had to be music related.
Well, I mean, it is any dead musician. But I will, if you don't want to.
No, honestly, I was Kurt, and I guess we all have to know.
Did Courtney do it?
Yeah.
Or you got the monkey toes to pull that trigger?
Yeah, I was like, or did you actually just like figured it out? I was like, yeah, them toes will do all right. Just rip the sock off.
He's like, no, I did a trifecta needle jab where he put 3 doses of heroin into the same armhole. 3 different needles. 3 needles, 1 hole. That's going to end up on the dark web as some sort of weird porn. 3 needles, 1 hole. But, no, yeah, did fucking Courtney do it?
Fucking hardcore porn.
Yeah, but that's definitely dark web type of shit, dog. But, no, I think in this, and I was getting to this too, because I was just kind of talking to Michelle about this question, and I feel like any member of the 27 Club is worthy of this question, because like you could ask Jim Morrison, because Jim Morrison died of apparent drug overdose.
Well, almost all of them have died of apparent deaths. Yeah,
but say like for instance, like Jim Morrison, it's like he had never done heroin. He died of allegedly died of a heroin overdose. So in a bathtub in Paris, and it's like, why did you decide to do that, or who did that to you? You know what I'm saying? It's like, did you willingly shoot yourself up for the first time with heroin, not knowing what it's going to do, or did somebody shoot you up and just leave you there? Or, you know, you could ask, like Janis Joplin, for instance. She had a drug overdose, but she was waiting for, because she was depressed because her lover, like the man that she was in love with, she thought was going to leave her, but he had actually sent her a letter, and since it was back in the day and they don't have email or text or whatnot, he had mailed her a letter like professing his love to her, and she thought the opposite, and so she was doing she obviously did drugs, but she was doing more and more drugs, and so that led to her overdose because she was depressed about her lover's potential,
right?
You know, mal feelings for her, or what have you. And so it's like you could ask Janis Joplin. It's like, why couldn't you have just waited like another 3 days to get that fucking letter, you weirdo?
Should have got an owl.
Yeah, an owl.
Yeah.
Oh, like a messenger owl,
or a pigeon.
Pigeon. I would love to still communicate through pigeon with somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be the funny, like pen pal.
Pigeon pals. Yeah, we pigeon pals.
You don't know who the person is.
Yeah. You just get one back, help. And it's like, I don't know.
Where am I going?
Where am I supposed to go? I don't know.
Is there a caller on this thing?
Yeah. His name's Sparky. Has like a cell phone number and a vet. He's got his rabies shots, and he's microchipped.
Oh, who am I helping? Oh, that's funny as fuck.
And like you could ask Jimi Hendrix. It's like, did you legitimately, accidentally take all those sleeping pills, or did somebody give you more sleeping pills than you were supposed to have?
Right.
Were you actually overworked? Did you really want to get out of the game? Like, did you really not want to be doing this anymore? Like, what, you could ask really any dead
It's really a
musician.
deep question.
Yeah, I thought of this literally today, and so I don't like that's my issue with these questions is I'll think of them like the day of, and it's
Well,
like
I mean,
I
that's
don't
good.
I know, but like I don't get enough time to actually like think about what my answer would be.
Well, I mean, it's kind of cool because you still get to, you got to come up with an answer on the spot, just like I do. So it just,
Yeah, and it is a little more organic that way, I
yeah.
guess. But this is the crazy one, right? So what you have Robert Johnson, for instance. It's like what's the relationship between you and the devil for real? You know what I mean? Did you actually sell your soul to the devil to be able to play fucking mean guitar? Or is it a ruse? Like, because what I mentioned when I repeated the question, that they have to tell you the truth, like the 100% truth. So it's like if you asked Robert Johnson, you know, what is it with you and the devil? Did you actually sell your soul, or are you just? Is it a ruse? Is that just some kind of figure of speech that
Right.
that you used or whatnot? And so it's like, what's what is what wow wow what's there's a million answers, but I don't know, man. That's a crazy question. We might revisit that at some point. But speaking of Robert Johnson, I did not have.
What'd you say about my Johnson?
I'm gonna rob your Johnson. I'm gonna rob your Johnson from you, Johnson. That's a lot of nuts. You ever see Kung Pao?
Is there not? Isn't that the one with the belt? The dude.
Kung Pao. It's like a karate movie, or it's a kung fu movie, but it's like a comedy. It's like
Angie was saying something. Wasn't that dude with like an afro and like
no,
a belt?
no,
No.
no, no. Go and find Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Okay. There's so many movies that I feel like that you would really fucking love because they're just stupid movies, right? But in the
Yeah, like
best way.
stupid movies.
Well, like Naked Gun. Like, you ever watch Naked Gun or anything like that? Airplane. I mentioned Airplane to
I think
you.
I did. I think I have seen that one.
I'm going to give you. I have Airplane 1 and 2 on DVD, and I think I have Kung Pao. I'm going to give you those movies, and you have to watch them. I'm not going to fucking take no for an answer.
Okay.
Okay, because they're great movies. They're the best, all right? But speaking of Robert Johnson and robbing your Johnson, I did not have an album of the week that really correlated to any of the artists I'm going to be talking about today in our topic. So what I did have was an entire book of every Robert Johnson, the new transcriptions. It's 29 songs from the legendary blues man, and I this was the first guitar book that I ever bought, right, or got as a gift, whatever the fuck. And I still have yet to learn any of them. And I've been playing guitar for over 20 years now, I think. For about 20 years. Had this since I started playing. So probably within the first like 2 or 3 years that I started playing guitar, I got this book, I think actually for Christmas. And if you know anything about tablature, if you look at the tablature, you're literally like, there's no humanly way that you can play these fucking songs. They're insane, and I've just never really. It's more so been like a little novelty item to me rather than an actual learning tool. I don't fucking know, but yeah, it's got everything from Crossroad Blues, fucking Hellhound on My Trail. I believe I'll dust my broom. I don't know. I'm a steady rolling man. Kind hearted woman blues. Little Queen of Spades. Me and the Devil blues, milk cows, calf blues, phonograph blues, take two, preaching blues, up jump the devil, rambling on my mind, stones in my pathway, stop breaking down blues, sweet home Chicago, terrible blues, no. Traveling the rivers, I blues, A1, ha, walking blues. And when you got a friend, when you got a good friend, that's kind of a weird little trip out at the end there. It's like all about the devil and blues, and then it's like last song, when you got a good friend.
When you got a friend in me.
Well, it's not Toy Story.
I know.
But
There's a steak in my boot.
There's probably, I mean, he's been fucking with the devil, and the devil's all like serpenty. It's like he fucking probably got a bunch of snakes and a bunch of boots. I don't fucking know, dude. Like I said, I'm fucking tired. My brain is not working great. I say this every episode, I feel like, but, you know, it is what it is. But that takes the place of the album of the week. Yeah, because I had nothing. I thought I had a fucking... Well, I mean, I really don't.
It was just funny how you said it.
Yeah, I got nothing. And half of this information on this thing, half the information that I brought for the topic today, I don't even know what it is, so I'm going to be reading it for the first time. I stayed up till like 3 a.m. last night just fucking researching this shit. And it's kind of getting crazy because it's like, you know, being just busy with shows and shit, and then now it's like doing like research for this show. It's like I've saved myself a little bit on the editing of the show, but added the workload of actually doing like topics and shit. So I'm like, just kind of replaced it, but replaced the workload with other work.
The topic things
is cool.
More interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely don't have an issue with it. It's just very time consuming. But
well, I mean, yeah, it's research.
Yeah, but I like it. I enjoy you know, learning about people and things and music. But what's I'm going to say this. I'm going to set hard segue. I do not have any Phantom Sam in the fictions today, but instead,
I have one.
You do have one.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how I remembered it, but I did because it was fucking funny to me.
Okay, so everybody, this is we're gonna do a hard turn here into the segment of the show, Phantom Sam and the Fictions. This is the segment of the show for you guys who out there who don't know. This is the segment of the show where over the course of the week, one or if not both of us come up with some fictitious band names, and we'll talk about them. We'll figure out. What genre of music they would play, what real band, factual band would open for, or who they would open for, what their album would be called, or something like that. Anything and everything, we just bullshit about it. And I do not have any for today, but Space Camp today has for us one fictitious band name. So, fictitious band name.
Uno.
One.
Pineapple Piss.
Pineapple Piss. That sounds delicious.
Yeah. So when your piss smells like pineapple.
Well, yeah, I gathered that. I think everybody.
I haven't really thought about what they would sound like, so this is good.
Pineapple Piss. I feel like no. You're holding the correct instrument.
Dude, that's exactly what I thought, and I was like more like just it
would be Hawaiian metal.
Yeah.
But it'd just be pig squealing Hawaiian folk. Pig squealing Hawaiian funk metal.
Or Hawaiian. Really light fucking. I'm clipping real loud.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, I feel like you couldn't. I don't think you would put any distortion on it, though. I think it should sound exactly like that.
Exactly. And, and then just the voice would just be metal. It would be hilarious.
And they got a lot of pigs over there in Hawaii. That's like their thing. They put the pigs in the pit and they have a luau.
He's got a pig mask on.
Yeah.
With fucking coconuts and a hula skirt.
Yeah. But like some kind of like, instead of like a spiked collar, like a metalhead, like it's like punji sticks. Like little wooden sticks.
Yeah.
Or something. Or thorns or something. Jesus thorns. But, yeah. Hawaiian folk pig squealing metal music. Folk, pig squealing Hawaiian folk metal. There we go.
Yeah, dude, that's funny as fuck.
I'm trying to think of like what an album would be called though. Like something like Luau of Doom or something, or Luau
Rise of the Volcano.
Yeah, Volcano Luau, Blood Pig. I don't know.
The yellow blood from the coconut.
Coconut Blood.
Yeah, I thought about that one too.
Coconut Blood is their first single, and then from their album, see, I want to use the word luau for some reason because that's a dope fucking word.
Wow.
I don't know. Anyways, dead air. Anyways, so we figured out that it is definitely pig squealing Hawaiian folk metal, and their first single is Coconut Blood. That sounds pretty dope.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
The Devil's Luau or something like fucking weird. I don't know. Anyways, I'm done. I'm not gonna force it. We're gonna move on. Anyways, so that's the only one we have. So that concludes Phantom Sam and the Fictions. I will hard segue to our next segment, which is I have a bathroom Buddha. This is
oh, did you really find one, or was this the one?
I have 1,000.
Like, oh, okay. I was like the last few shows I haven't found jack dick.
No, this is one from like a long time ago actually, but I found them all and I was like, I don't have any fictions, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the segment of the show called Phantom Sam and the Buddhas of the Bathroom Wall, which I don't have a picture to show you, but I do have the words written down, and I'm gonna post the picture somewhere above us, and it's gonna be fun. But this is the segment of the show called Phantom Sam and the Buddhas of the Bathroom Wall. This is where we find, amidst the vulgarities of venue bathroom walls, there's always something that you insightful in the midst of it all, and words of the wise from some random person, faceless prophet of the bathroom wall that has something encouraging and or cryptic to say. And for today, the Buddhas of the Bathroom Wall is no gods, no masters, only man. What do you think that means to you? Because I know what it kind of means. And it is. I actually did my research on it because I was like, I want to make sure that this isn't something already existing that someone was just like, I'm gonna write this on the wall, and it kind of is. There is a no gods, no masters. It's like a almost like a saying in like anarchism, basically, and it's obviously seems very blasphemous and anti society, but it basically means that everything that happens to you, it's almost like the opposite of, to me it's almost the opposite of what like I preach on this show, or what we talk about, like being the universe, and like the universe kind of like there is an element of like, if you believe in the universe, there is an element of like determinism, meaning like things are already planned out for you in some way, and you're just letting the universe happen to you, and it's, you're on a trajectory, already your path is already determined for you, basically. I'm not saying that that's what I believe, but I'm saying that that is you kind of there is that element of like feeding the universe and things like that. But this is almost the opposite. Like no gods, no masters, only man. And it's like you basically it's almost like no matter what you do and you accomplish in life or whatever happens, blah 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 blah, it's because you did it. There's no intervention between a master or a god or anything. It's just you are man and what you are what you made, basically. Which is there's elements to that that I actually kind of agree with as well, but it's not like I'm just basically mentioning that that is kind of the opposite of feeding the universe, but it's kind of a cryptic thing, and I thought it was interesting because I'm just sitting there pissing in a urinal, and I look over, and it's just like, no gods, no masters, only man, and I'm like, yikes! All right, guy, what? Because I always imagine the guy writing it, he's just sitting there pissing too, and he's just like, oh my god. And just scribbles on the wall. It's like what?
Says some like Archer shit.
Yeah. I just had a thought. No, or what? Yeah, it's just, I don't even know. It's like you want. I want the next person to come in here and piss to read this and to, I don't know. It's just super funny to me. But our weekend. We'll go ahead and recap our weekend here. We were in Tulsa for 2 days, Friday and Saturday, 2 shows. Friday we played at Rebar, and big shout out to Brian Keating. He actually booked us at the Rebar, owns the Rebar, and then he helped us get a second show at Badass Renee's down the road.
Fun. Both of them were really fun.
Yeah. I will say though, Rebar, shout out to the 3 people that loved us. There was only like 3 people there, which was totally cool. We're used to that shit, but they were really digging it, and so I really appreciate them. One of them looked like Robert Plant, which is kind of funny to me, and or who did he say? Hetfield. What the fuck his name is?
James Hetfield.
Yeah, that's what he said. I think that's who he said. But no, I thought that was also cool that the guy, Brian Keating, before we played, he was like, hey, I forgot to mention to you, and I hope you're okay with it, but I ripped your CD off of the internet, and I burned it onto a disc, and I put it into my CD jukebox. And so we made it into our first jukebox, which I thought was pretty cool, and I have a video of it, which is kind of neat, and whether he ripped it off or not, it was fucking
it's
cool
funny.
as shit. I thought it was
and funny and cool.
Yeah, so like just in Tulsa, there's just a random jukebox with Phantom Sam's and the Dirty Machine in there, which I thought was pretty fucking dope. And but yeah, we played there, and that was pretty fun. And then the next night we played Badass Renee's with who was it? Oklahoma Chill opened the show. They were like a local like blues band, and Muskogee was it Muskogee Sunrise was the guitarist's name, and he had it on his amp, and that dude was like pretty much a Native American Stevie Ray Vaughan. He was really fucking
Yeah,
he was
really
a good fucking blues player for real, and he was pretty dope. Well, they were all good. Don't get me wrong, but he just like had his own nickname and shit. So I was like, that's the only reason I remember him is that the Muskogee Sunrise, and he's just and then they go into like Pride and Joy and shit, which is fucking dope. But and then we played, and then after us was a full frontal feedback, and they were like they were a metal band, but they were pretty good. That's more Space Camp's bag, but I enjoyed. They were all really nice dudes, and yeah, man, I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
Oh, we can't forget the snake, the guy with the snake.
Oh, dude, yeah, old Jimmy and his snake, Jimmy and Dee Dee, right?
Yeah,
dude. So we were sitting there in the van, and there was this dude, and he was outside smoking a cigarette with this lady, and shout out to Michelle. She was cool too. But Jimmy, that was the guy, and he was wearing like a Outback fucking like cowboy hat type of thing, and it had a snake wrapped around it like a python. And we were sitting there trying to figure out if it was a real snake. I couldn't see like a a flittering tongue or anything. So I was like, I think he just has like a fake snake on his hat, which you wouldn't put it past somebody like like they have like weird hats like that, novelty hats like that all the time. But he started talking. He asked, what did he say? That he broke the ice between us.
He
and
said he got candy in that van.
Yeah, he asked if we had candy in the van, and yes, actually no, I didn't have any candy, but it is what it is. It was a funny joke. And then I was like, dude, I've been trying to figure out if that snake is real. And then as he approached, me and Space Camp were talking about it, and it's like as he approached, the closer he got, the
more alive that snake got.
This snake like came alive, like it just like you could actually tell it was real the closer he got, obviously, but it ended up being a real fucking python, and we both got to hold it, and it was
really cool.
It was pretty fucking cool. It was a very chill snake, and the only thing about the snakes is like I have very little experience with them, so I'm like sitting there and like do you? I know this is gonna sound nuts, but like, do you ever like hold an animal and you don't speak physically, but you try to like spiritually connect with it? Like the whole time I was had that snake, I was literally just like trying to exude like good vibes. Like I was like, we're cool, guy. Like, but with my spirit, if that makes sense. Like I was just like, just trying to, like, hey, buddy. We're in this world together right now. We're one right now, and I'm giving you all the best intentions. But cool fucking snake, and the dude was really cool too, Jimmy. He said a lot of kind things, and I thought it was funny though because he came up to when we were playing. He came up, he's like, "You guys are awesome" or some shit, and he didn't have the snake. I was like, anybody was hammered, and I was like, "Did you get drunk and fucking lose your snake?"
Yeah.
And then the lady next to him had the snake, but I just thought that was funny because you know how fucking hilarious it would be for some snake owner to get so trashed at a show and lose his snake in a bar. Even though the snake was a dope snake, it was kind of funny to think about. But yeah, it aims what it aims. But yeah, that was our weekend. We're in Wisconsin this next weekend, which is kind of crazy. For 2 days. But yeah, that's
we're in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
both days. Okay.
Yep. But yeah. So that was our weekend, and I'm gonna go ahead and say I think we got through this the top piece of bread here. We're going to the delectable, delicious gelatin jelly jam center.
I gotta say something.
Sweet purple.
Well, this time I'm not forgetting a pillow on the blanket.
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of an important thing for sleeping anyway.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I'm forgetting something. Fuck my pillow. Fuck my blanket.
I slept well though. Well, I guess I didn't forget my shit though. So, bang bang boom. But anyways, guys. So we're going to get to the delectable, sweet purple center of the show at the Jam Sandwich. And so I hope you enjoy the Jam segment of the show. And when we get back, we'll get into our topic, Death and Dissonance Part 3, Posthumous Fame, Belated Admiration, and Afterlife Accolades. Artists who missed the mainstream, beamed up before their time to the great gig in the sky. That being said, cue the Jam portion of the show. Anyways, we back, we here, we queer, kind of. Anyways, even though we just got done talking about how we were going to get married, which is kind of fucking
Larry.
Chuck and Larry. Yeah, Chuck and Larry married. Where you're not gay, you're just,
married
in a civil union. But, hell yeah, welcome back to another jam portion of Art of the Jam. We doing it. We here. We doing it. All right. But
I will go ahead and say that I'm on the Vox today. We're having some technical issues with my PV amps. Not that it probably makes any difference to you, but if everything's a little extra muddy, then yeah, that's why. So I'm gonna try to do this with my little old reliable Vox amp here, because Voxy Boy does, as much as I don't favor the Vox, she's very reliable. She's old reliable, and I can't be mad at her, and I should never get rid of her ever in my life, ever. I'm starting to realize that. So we are going to do a roll, and then we are going to do a jam, and you guys are going to listen to it, hopefully, and we are going to get back to the show after that, because I do believe this is the conclusion of our Death and Dissonance series of murder and music, so that that'll be fun. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you enjoy the dark freaking dark shit. That's cool. Anyways, we are going to roll the dice. Space Camp is going to get keys and qualities, and I am going to get time signature and accent. And we're going to come together like fucking Captain Planet and do a jam based on that. So
What do we do? Timer or stopwatch?
we need a timer. A timer. Yeah.
We're gonna do the timer this time.
We have been doing a
I
timer.
thought we were doing the stopwatch.
No, I don't think so. I think a timer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've been doing a timer. Good thing you remembered that, because I did not. So.
Oh, I was like, oh shit. The sandwich thing is how it
Well, how does that correlate?
Well, you said with the sandwich we kind of have to.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I just didn't. I didn't understand.
My food's fucked up, so don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry about
It's on 20 minutes.
25 of that.
No, 20. Do 20. We've been doing the 20 minutes. Cool. All right. So, keys and qualities. And we're going to do 7 shakes and roll on the 8. All right, so let's roll. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Roll. Oh, great. All right, cool.
What?
It's just the shitty one. Okay, what do you got?
7D or D7.
D7. We're on D12. D.
I didn't know if I was saying that right. I did.
Okay, so
Oh fuck! I don't even want to hear this.
our roll for today is we are in the key of D. That's right in front of my face. Let's do it here. D. We are in the quality of 7. Time signature of 2/4 with an accent on the accent on the 2. Let me repeat. We are in the key of D. Quality is 7. We have the time signature of 2/4 with an accent on the 2. Without further ado.
It's not as bad as what we had.
Alright. So. So, it's just 2 beats.
I know. I'm just starting to like understand like I don't have to go this fast.
Right. And honestly, I think it's kind of cool. We always fuck with. Usually, we only fuck with one speed, and we kind of bring up the dynamics of the. When we forget about the dynamics of tempo, like we can you can do like 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can bring it down.
And there was a few.
And that's kind of fun to fuck
Did
with.
you hear the volume, the speed change, like all of a sudden, like how it just like slowly fell into this?
Yeah, I think that
I got so mad. It's like my fucking arm was so tired.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's cool that you leaned into that. If that makes sense. Like you get tired, you slow down. You know what I mean? It's like that's the type of training that we need to work on when it comes to the Eternal Jam Nation, the thing we were doing.
Yeah, it was like fucking just like me. It was like I was like stop for a second, take it further. I was like,
but it's that I think is
definitely
that I think is worth exploring more often too. I feel like other than just like bringing things up louder and bringing them soft, like there's that aspect of control we work on so much, and it's like we never really don't get me wrong, there's often times that we do kind of like naturally slow down and speed up and stuff like that, but to consciously start doing that's another aspect of control that we should really start
this is
fucking
great
with
that
more.
we can start doing
Yeah, I feel like we've discovered a new, like, not saying we've never done it before, but it's like you discover a new skill, and so it's like, oh shit, now we've identified it.
Level 1!
Now we're on level 1 of that skill, we've identified it. Now the only thing to do, the only thing left to do with it now is to make it better, now that we can consciously work on it.
Right.
Which I think is kind of cool. It's one thing you never really think about. Like, there are times where, because you think about it, like, whenever, like, you've gotten a lot better at it, but before, in the past, like, where it's like, how does that count go? And I'll just do, like, a count. I naturally do it at the same tempo. So I feel like often in the past, we've always just gone at the same tempo every single time. You know what I'm saying? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Rarely am I ever like, all right, we got 4/4 accent on the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the jam, the delectable purple center of the jam sandwich. Now let's get back to the show.
Bow, bow, bow. I clipped the mic 3 times. Wait, bow, bow, bow. Yep, 3 times. It was 3 times. Hey, guys, and welcome back. Whoa. Didn't know this was a Jordan Peele movie. Anyways, we are back from the jam portion of the show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I think you would agree with me. I hope that jam was good. We don't know yet. We live in 2 different universes, technically, right now with the
jam skis.
But we are back, and we are going to get straight into our topic. This is going to conclude our 3-part series of Death and Dissonance. This is part 3, Posthumous Fame, Belated Admiration, and Afterlife Accolades. These is the artists who missed the mainstream and beamed up before their time to the great gig in the sky, meaning they went die time before they had their time. So, I'm going to get this off my lap, actually. I don't know why I still have it on my lap. Hang on. Actually, you know what? I love you. You stay here. But so, I will say, our first artist, and I don't know how many of these that you are familiar with, Space Camp, but I'm going to start our first Posthumous Fame artist. There's spidey webs on it. It's weird. Sorry. Jim Croce. So, Jim Croce. Yeah, Josh is a big fan of Jim Croce. I'm a huge fan of Jim Croce, too. But and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give a little bit of background info leading up to the fun times that. I mean, that's sarcasm. They obviously didn't have a fun time because they go die. But Jim Croce, born James Joseph Croce on January 10th, 1943.
Say that 10 times fast.
What?
Jim Croce.
Jim Croce?
Yeah.
He was born James Joseph Croce on January. Jim Croce, sorry. Jim Croce, born James Joseph Croce on January 10th, 1943. He was an American folk and rock singer-songwriter. He grew up in west of Philly, Pennsylvania, and after graduating high school, he attended a prep school and enrolled in Villanova University. Villanova University. That was a poor accent, but Croce, he did not take his music seriously until he studied here. And he became a leader of the Villanova singers, formed bands, performed at frat parties, coffee houses, universities around Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. He basically played anything that anybody wanted to hear. He was kind of one of those types, like a lake act. To us, it would be like a lake act, basically, but like blues, rock, fucking acapella. It says railroad music, anything. He ended up going to Africa as a foreign exchange student in Middle East and Yugoslavia, and basically he would eat what people ate. He lived in the woods, played songs, and I thought this was. I only added this because this was an interesting topic, because I totally full-heartedly believe what he's saying here. But there's a quote by him. It said, "We just ate what the people ate, lived in the woods, and played our songs. Of course, they didn't speak English over there, but if you mean what you're singing, people understand." And I love that. It doesn't matter what language you're listening to. It's the intention behind what they're saying that's beautiful and really, really touches your fucking soul, dog. But basically, he met his future wife, Ingrid, at a convention hall during a hootenanny, which I thought was funny. I just added that because it said hootenanny, but and I enjoy that word, where he was judging a contest. They would go on to be not only husband and wife, but songwriting partners, and they released an album called Jim and Ingrid Croce. He eventually became disillusioned by the music business and sold all but one guitar to pay his rent. And to earn additional money, Croce took odd jobs, such as driving trucks, construction work, and teaching guitar, while continuing to write songs, often about the characters whom he would meet at local bars and truck stops, and his experiences at work. These songs included Big Wheel and Workin' at the Car Wash Blues. I could also say Bad Leroy Brown, or You Don't Mess. I almost said You Don't Fuck Around with Jim, but it's You Don't Mess Around with Jim, which is debatably two of his most famous songs. But in 1970, he eventually met classically trained, and I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. So, but his songwriting partner after his wife his name was Maury Muellison. It's like German. It looks German. But he would back Maury on guitar, and then eventually they switched roles, and Maury would eventually go on to back Croce's music. They signed a 3-album deal with ABC Records, releasing 2 albums, You Don't Mess Around with Jim and Life and Times. Croce released his first album, Facets, in 1966, and only pressed 500 copies. It had been financed for $500, which at the time was $500, but in our time that would have been like little south of $5,000, which is crazy. But it was a wedding gift from his parents, and they set a condition that the money would be spent to make the album, and they actually hoped that Croce would abandon music after the album failed and use his college education to pursue a more traditional profession. However, the album did prove to be successful with every copy sold. How shitty of your fucking parents to be like, we'll give you the money, but we want you to fucking fail, dude.
Yeah.
It's like if I was a parent and I had that mentality, it's like, why would I waste the money? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to give you money hoping you fail. Then you're just losing money. I thought that was fucking stupid. But Anyway, whatever. So, on the night of Thursday, September 20th, 1973, during Croce's Life and Times tour, which he had been scheduled for 45 dates, and the day before his ABC single, I Got a Name, was released, Croce and 5 others were killed when their chartered Beechcraft E-18S crashed shortly after the takeoff from Natchitoches Regional Airport in Natchitoches, Louisiana. I don't care if that's not how you pronounce that word. That's how I'm pronouncing it because it's fucking fun to say. Natchitoches. Natchitoches. Even though it's Louisiana, it sounds like, it almost sounds Japanese. Natchitoches. Oh, yeah, Natchitoches. Oh, shit. Oh, Bobby Mom. No.
Bobby Mom?
Yeah.
Bobby Mom.
Croce was 30 years old, and the others killed in the crash were the pilot, Robert Elliott, Croce's bandmate, Maury, the manager and booking agent, Kenneth Cortese, the road manager, Dennis Rast, and George Stevens, whom was a comedian. Basically, the crash occurred an hour... The crash occurred an hour after Croce had finished a concert at Northwestern State University's Prather Coliseum in Natchitoches. They were headed to Austin College to perform another concert, but an investigation at the National Transportation Safety Board identified the probable cause as the pilot's failure to see obstructions because of physical impairment and fog that had reduced his vision. The 57-year-old pilot suffered from severe coronary artery disease and had run 3 miles to the airport from a motel. He had a certificate to fly a plane, and all of that, flight hours and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. Which, let's break that down. Let's unpack that real quick. So, one, I definitely get wanting to stay fit and exercise and shit, but this dude was a 57-year-old man who suffered from severe coronary artery disease and had run 3 miles to the airport from a motel. You're about to fly a plane full of fucking people. You're about to fly a giant fucking metal tube through the sky full of people. What are you doing? I don't know. I just thought that was kind of wild, but and I don't know if I honestly I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if he ever got like prosecuted for that. Actually,
So he didn't die?
Whoa! You're right. Oh my God! Wow, I'm so stupid. Oh my God! See, this is what I'm saying. I already threw my shit down, but yeah, I think the pilot definitely died. You're right.
I was like, so that guy didn't die, and how the rest of the band members died?
They're all dead. They're all dead. I don't even know how. Yeah, I wonder if he got prosecuted. No, he did. He went to fucking hell. That's why. No, I don't know his life, but
yeah. It's just...
One thing I will say this though is that pilot definitely does not suffer from severe coronary artery disease anymore. Because he did. That was, oh man, I feel like an idiot. Of course he's dead. Why did I even say that? God, this is turning into a fucking nightmare, dude.
Dude is dead.
God, he's so dead. But, yeah, and so, basically, Croce, in a letter to Ingrid that arrived after his death, Croce told her that he had decided to quit music and wanted to write short stories and movie scripts as a career and withdraw from the public life. But, so he signed a 3-album deal. You Don't Mess Around with Jim, Life and Times, and then he had another album. He was slotted to play 45 dates as his Life and Times tour. He was basically he definitely was not as popular as he is nowadays. Like, he's like a beloved name now. Like, I should be a household name, and I'm sure to a lot of households is a household name. But it's just unfortunate that he was like, he's the one of all of these all three of these artists that I have here, he's the one that was like, he was making it. It was apparent that he was on an upward trajectory to fame and fortune, essentially, or however you want to say that. He was successful, and then he got snatched away, quite literally. I would say quite literally by the great gig in the sky, but he was flying a plane and the plane went down, so he didn't quite make it to the great gig in the sky. Just kidding, but spiritually he did. I feel like that was a rude thing to say, and I don't mean it that way. I'm just making jokes too, so just jokes, folks. We're having fun here. That's death is a dark subject, and if I don't joke about it, it's not as it's just gonna be grim. This is gonna be a grim episode. Nobody's gonna fucking listen to it, okay?
Yeah.
But
It's your fault.
But Jim Croce, listen to the motherfucker. He had a lot of good songs, and I every time I go to a record store, I'll see a copy of You Don't Mess Around with Jim, and I feel like I need to next time I have to buy it. There's been so many good records out there that I'll see, and then I'll be like, no, I'll get it next time because I see it everywhere. And then whenever I'm looking for it, it's not going to be there. But I'm coming for you, Jim. I'm coming for you, Jim Croce. But artist number 2, Jeff Buckley. Are you familiar with Jeff Buckley? Jeff Buckley was born Jeffrey Scott Buckley, raised as Scott Moorhead, which I didn't look into that, but that's kind of fucking weird. That's like a that's like a guy named like Jeffrey, and he's like, no, but you can call me Kevin. You know, it's like whatever. Jeffrey Scott. Well, I guess Scott is his middle name. God, I'm making so many mistakes. This is what's funny about this. Didn't I say at the beginning of this episode that I'm pretty much reading this all for the first time here because I didn't have time to actually...
It's interesting.
So, I barely know any of this information, and I'm not even catching it as I'm reading it. So, forgive me, audience. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and you know what? Next time I'll do better. The last episode I had it all fucking, like, all internalized and everything, and now I'm just, like, reading it right off a fucking piece of paper, so... Forgive me, everybody, but he was raised Scott Moorhead, November 17th, 1966, and he was an American singer-songwriter. After a decade as a session guitarist in L.A., he attracted a following in the early 1990s, performing at venues in the East Village, Manhattan. He signed with Columbia, recruited a band, and released a one-soul studio album entitled Grace in 1994. Buckley toured extensively to promote Grace with concerts in the U.S., Europe, Japan, and Australia. In 1996, he worked on his second album, My Sweetheart the Drunk, in New York City with the producer Tom Verlaine. In 1997, he resumed work after moving to Memphis, Tennessee, recording a 4-track demos and playing weekly solo shows in Memphis. On the evening of May 29, 1997, Buckley's band flew to Memphis to join him in his studio to work on his new material. Later that evening, Buckley spontaneously went swimming, fully dressed in the Wolf River Harbor, a slackwater channel of the Mississippi River, singing the chorus of Led Zeppelin's A Whole Lotta Love under the Memphis Suspension Railway, which I think is fucking weird, but... Hey, there's nothing like spontaneously going swimming. It's like, hey, fuck, I'm going to jump in this body of water naked and just singing Zeppelin at the top of my head, at the top of my fucking lungs. That sounds fucking dope, actually. This guy knew what he was doing, I think. I think he did. Not in a death way. He was just doing it right. He was enjoying life, which is unfortunate for what's to come. But yeah, so he went spontaneously swimming, fully dressed. I made another mistake. He should have been naked, but he was fully dressed. Who goes swimming fully dressed? That's a lunatic. Scratch all that. He doesn't know how to live. He's a lunatic. He jumped in. He's not a lunatic. He's the wild card that jumps in the pool with all of his clothes on at the party. But he basically jumped fully dressed in the Wolf River, and he was singing Led Zeppelin, which sounds like a fun fucking time, to be real with you. But a roadie in Buckley's band remained on shore, and after moving a radio and guitar out of reach from the wake from the passing tugboat, he looked up to see Buckley had vanished, and the wake of the tugboat had swept him away from shore and underwater. A rescue effort that night and the next morning by scuba teams and police was unsuccessful, and on June 4th, passengers on the American Queen riverboat spotted Buckley's body in the Wolf River, caught in branches. Buckley's autopsy showed no signs of drugs or alcohol, and the death was ruled an accidental drowning. The official Jeff Buckley website published a statement saying his death was neither mysterious nor an unaliving. Self-inflicted unaliving. I'll put that.
So it just happened.
Well, so the Mississippi River, well, really any river that has like tugboats and barges, the wake that they produce, exactly what this says. It can actually pull you underwater, and a lot of like the Mississippi River is extremely dangerous to float. There's people that float it as like a athletic challenge, basically. Like I met a guy in Wyoming one time, and he was like, I'm about to go and float the Mississippi, and I don't know if that guy's still alive or not, to be honest, but it's pretty much like if you're floating and you come within a certain distance from the tugboat or the garbage barge, you have to get off the river a lot of the time, depending on how close you are to it. And it sounds like he just was like, fuck this shit, and just like was having fun. He's fucking playing music, recording music, whatnot, and decided to jump into a fucking river and not thinking about it. Got swept up in the tugboat tide, dog. Fucking doing all that shit. But that's basically what it sounds like. But he, okay, so I'm a page ahead here. Hang on one second. But he, yeah, and so I'm not sure if you are familiar with, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the song Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So that's a Leonard Cohen song, but it was made, I will say that it was definitely made famous by Jeff Buckley, because Jeff Buckley's version is by far the best, and that's what Grace was on. But what's crazy is that's what the posthumous fame is. It's like all of these artists were famous, like we think of them now as famous, but at the time they weren't quite household names like they are today, and it kind of took them dying, unfortunately, to become that household name. So like Grace, the album Grace and the song Hallelujah is now considered one of within the 300 best songs of all time. And I that's an actual statistic. I didn't make that one up. That's his version of Hallelujah is amazing. It's the best fucking one of them. Honestly, it's even if you're not, because it does have kind of a little slight religious connotation to it, but it's you can fucking worship Satan, and that's a good song.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking great. And but yeah, it's considered one of the 300 best songs of all times because of just because. And Grace, I'm not quite familiar with a lot of his material, but I've always been super into the song Hallelujah. It's a fucking dope song. But that concludes Jeff Buckley. Artist number 3. This is a little bit more in your realm, but Hillel Slovak. I don't know if that's how to pronounce his name, but we're going to call him Slovak. All right, and Slovak is a Israeli American. He was born April 13th, 1962. He was an Israeli American musician, best known as the founding guitarist of the LA rock band the Red Hot Chili Peppers, with whom he recorded 2 albums. At one time, he played in other bands simultaneously with the Chili Peppers, such as the band What Is This? It's another American rock band. Around the same time, the Chili Peppers and What Is This acquired record deals, kind of around the same time. And I believe Flea was in another band as well, and Flea actually quit his band whenever the Chili Peppers got a record deal so he could pursue music like as a job because they have a record deal. So he quit the job, went to the Chili Peppers. Slovak actually, he considered the Peppers a side project and left to pursue his other band until he became frustrated with the recording of their album, and then he eventually contacted Flea and requested to rejoin the Chili Peppers. He returned to the Chili Peppers for their second album, Freaky Styley, which was released on August 16th, 1985. And then What Is This, which was his other band that he left for the Chili Peppers, had finally disbanded. The relationship between Flea, Slovak, and Anthony Kiedis began to deteriorate as a result of excessive heavy drug use and addiction. Flea recalled that it began to seem ugly to me and not fun. Our communication was not healthy. Kiedis became dependent on heroin, leaving the rest of the group to work on much of the album's material by themselves. They lived in Detroit for a portion of the recording of the album, where Kiedis and Slovak indulged in heavy cocaine use. Fuck yeah, dude. Just kidding. Cocaine's a hell of a drug, but
Bitch.
yeah. But Slovak, I feel like I keep pronouncing it two different ways: Slovak or Slavic. Fucking tell me in the comments how to pronounce this. You can't really tell me in the comments how to pronounce this because it's just going to be in text anyway, dude. I'm fucking looning out right now. When Slovak was under the influence, he would often wear brightly colored clothing and dance in a shuffling fashion, which became the inspiration for the song Skinny Sweaty Man from the band's next album. After Kiedis completed a stint in rehab, he rejoined the Red Hot Chili Peppers in L.A. to record their third album, The Uplift Mofo Party Plan. Slovak felt a deep connection to the album, and he reflected in his diary, "It was so fun. I am so extremely proud of everybody's work. It is at times genius." Which, that's a healthy thought, and that's not sarcasm. That's sounds dope. Slovak and Kiedis became addicted to heroin early on in their careers, but Slovak often attempted to conceal his addiction from his friends and family. And that's extremely fucking sad, because that makes me think of Phil Lynott, the singer and bass player of Thin Lizzy. He was the same way. I'm pretty sure he died of heroin overdose, and his family never knew he even began to do heroin, which is fucking sad. Could you imagine? You think your son is like fucking clean and sober and not doing, like, you would never in a million years think that he did heroin, but then you get a call and you're like, oh, your son's dead from heroin overdose. And it's like, you know what I mean? That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
But
no.
Yeah. It's like you wouldn't even have thought he ever would fucking do that. But at first, the band they were more concerned about Kiedis' addiction, which had become more apparent to the other members due to his willingness to openly discuss his issues. Kiedis was more upfront about his problems, while Slovak, according to Kiedis, was much more subtle and much more cunning in his disguise. During the tour, in support of Freaky Styley, Slovak's health began to deteriorate. Slovak and Flea would wrestle regularly on tour, but Slovak became too weak to participate. Kiedis commented on the situation, "I could tell that Hillel had no inner core of strength. He had been robbed by his addiction of the life force that allows you to at least defend yourself. It was a sad moment." A roadie of the band who was concerned for Slovak's health contacted his brother James, who had been unaware that Slovak had ever used heroin. So that's like what I was just saying. Rhodey gets scared for his health and then calls his brother, and his brother had no idea he had ever even tried it. You know what I mean? That's so, like, scary to me for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just weird. It's like you
and
just
dangerous.
Yeah, but He decided to give sobriety a chance. Both Kiedis and Slavic stopped using drugs prior to their European tour in support of the Uplift Mofo Party plan and decided to help each other steer clear of heroin. An entry from Slavic's diary on January 21st, 1988 discusses his attempts to begin a new drug-free phase of life. During the tour, both experienced intense heroin withdrawal, with Slavic much more unstable than Kiedis. His withdrawal symptoms took a toll on his ability to play his instrument, and at one point Slavic had a mental breakdown and was unable to play a show, leaving the rest of the band to play an entire set with no guitar. Which that kind of sounds... I'm not trying to be funny here, but it kind of sounds interesting, and like I want to hear what that sounds like. You know what I mean? Like any Red Hot Chili Peppers song without any guitar in it. I want to just hear the difference. You know what I mean? It just sounds intriguing to me. But he recovered a few days later, but was briefly kicked out of the band and replaced by Duane McKnight for a few shows. After a few days with McKnight, the band decided to give Slavic another chance, and he rejoined the European leg of the tour, and Kiedis attempted to take Slavic to drug addiction counseling, but Slavic had difficulty admitting that his addiction was serious enough to require medical help. Upon returning home, Slavic isolated himself from the rest of his bandmates and struggled to resist drug abuse without the support of his friends, and Kiedis in particular. He stopped painting and writing in his diary during this time, and little is known about his life during the weeks following the tour, aside from a phone call to his brother on June 24th, in which Slavic told him that he was having difficulty staying clean despite his desire to stop taking heroin. A few weeks after the band returned from the tour, the members attempted to contact Slavic but were unable to do so for several days. Slavic died in his Hollywood apartment on June 25th, 1988, although his body was not discovered until 2 days later. On June 27, 1988, Slavic's body was found slumped over the painting he had been working on at the time of his death. He was found holding a cigarette, which had burned a hole in the canvas of the painting. After completion of the autopsy, authorities confirmed that the official cause of death was due to an accidental heroin overdose. Yeah. And he was buried at Mount Sinai Memorial Park Cemetery in Hollywood Hills, California. But the point of this, the band did okay on a local level, enough to secure them a contract with the EMI Records. He worked with Slavic worked with the Peppers through their first 3 albums and on the EP, none of which elevated the band above a cult status. What money was earned went to drugs. Halil died of the drug overdose. Police believe his body lay in the apartment for a couple of days before he was found, but there was much doubt that the band could continue without Slavic and the drummer Jack Irons, who left because he couldn't deal with what had happened, because this was before Chad Smith.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so drummer Jack Irons left after Slavic died. He left because he couldn't deal with what happened, but Kiedis and Flea regrouped using guitarist John Frusciante and drummer Chad Smith, and since then they sold tens of millions of albums, and Slavic is remembered fondly as a founding member of the group. So, what's crazy is this is not necessarily about the fame of the musician himself, other than being a fondly remembered member of the group. But if you think about this as the Chili Peppers as a whole, unfortunately, it seems as if they probably wouldn't have garnered as much success as they have nowadays without the death of their friend, which I'm not obviously a fortune teller. I don't know if that is true, but according to
What was their first album?
I forgot what their first.
Wasn't that Blood, Sugar, Sex Magic?
No, that was their first successful album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they went on to make that. and to Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and that was pretty much what kind of skyrocketed them to fame. But the first album, I can't even remember what the first album was, but second album was that Freaky Styly one. But and like Mother's Milk and shit like that. But yeah, I didn't do much research into their actual like discography.
'Cause I'm not really into their newer stuff.
Oh, I'm the opposite. I think their old stuff is not fun, but I'm honestly not a huge fan in general of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, me either.
But if I were to choose, it would probably be their newer, not even their, like they have the Return of the Dream Canteen, which I think is their newest album that just came out in the past couple years, and there's like 2 good songs on there, but like Blood Sugar Sex Magic was really good, and of course like Californication is all right. I mean, it has mostly hits on it, you know. But no, it's kind of crazy that what we know of the Chili Peppers wouldn't have happened without his passing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I said, if you think about the whole band's success, it was at the expense of their buddies passing, which kind of sucks. But because I didn't even know there was a guitar player before Frusciante. For some reason, I always thought Frusciante was like the original, like the OG fucking guitar player. Because like if he's synonymous with the Chili Peppers. Like if when you think of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you think of all of them, but you think of Frusciante as the guitar player. You know what I'm saying? It's like you never think of like this Hillel Slovak guy, which I really hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I feel really bad, but yeah, man, that's it. You know, there's definitely a lot of other artists out there that have died before their time, but a lot of them have been covered. Like Robert Johnson there's so much about him, but so little about him, if that makes sense. But he's covered a lot. And Otis Redding too. Otis Redding was one that I almost did, because Otis Redding only got one #1 hit, and it was after he died, and it was sitting on the dock of the bay, because he died in a plane crash too. And yeah, and the actual mix and mastering of that song too wasn't even finished until after he died. And I heard this story that Steve Cropper from Booker T and the MGs, and he worked at Stax Records. He actually Otis Redding, he expressed wanting to put like waves, the sound of like waves whooshing in the background of it sitting on the dock of the bay. And I always thought this was an interesting little snippet of information, but they always thought that wouldn't have been like a good idea or something like that. Like somebody was contesting the idea of doing it, but whenever he died, and before they released it, Steve Cropper put the waves at the very end of the song whooshing in the background, which I thought was really sweet.
That's actually a really sweet thing to do.
Steve Cropper's one of my favorite guitar players of all time. I love Steve Cropper, but he like fucking Green Onions and shit. That's Steve Cropper. Steve Cropper was the guitarist of the Blues Brothers. Like, it's fucking dope. But but that concludes Death and Dissonance. I think we're good. I think we made it. It was a long time coming. A lot of hard work, a lot of talking, a lot of information. And I'm hoping that this isn't so boring for you out there listening. I hope we did it for you. I hope we can get better at this. Why don't you give us, please, the opportunity to get better at this? Because I really, really enjoy this, and I enjoy giving you guys the information that I find interesting about music. The dark sides, the philosophies, the history, the esoteric topics of music. I really enjoy it, and so I hope you all are out there, if you're still listening, I really appreciate you hanging in for this series. And next episode, we're going to start a new topic. It's probably not going to be a series, but it's going to be a new topic, and I believe it's going to be something about the oddballs of the rock realm. I think it's going to be people that are a little too weird for this world. And yeah, that being said, I hope you stick around for the next episode of Art of the Jam. And we fucking did it. And what are we going to do? We're going to live with cause. And we're going to leave the results to the great law of the universe. We are going to pass each day in peaceful contemplation. We are going to be patient. And we are going to be present in our fucking lives, everybody. All right? Put the fucking, after this episode, put the fucking phone down and be present. Fucking pet your dog, kiss your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever it is. Just love them. Hold them close. Because you never know, all right? And we're gonna. Well, what are we gonna do, Space Camp? What'd you say? We're gonna
stay funky.
We're gonna stay funky. We're gonna stay groovy, and we're gonna stay tuned. So, without further ado,
we just brought to you Art of the Jam.
Art of the Jam. Oh, get it. Oh shit. We got them out of the jam blues. We got those out of the jam blues. We got a bunch of dead music dudes playing music in fucking dead guy land.
Dead guy land.
We doing it.